Daxxify is the latest neuromodulator for treatment of mild to moderate folds in the face secondary to a muscle contraction. It's being promoted as the greatest competitor to Botox in the last 20 years. Hi, I'm Dr. Messina, and today we're going to be looking at Daxxify and comparing it to the traditional Botox and Dysport medications that we already use. Daxxify was FDA approved in 2022 for the glabellar area, in other words, those 11 lines. Whereas both Botox and Daxxify are both botulinum toxin A. The main difference is that Daxxify uses a peptide protein to stabilize the molecule. That peptide protein has the potential to give us some unwanted problems in the future. We're going to discuss that specifically in the side effects and complications section. And they say that that protein allows for better entrance into the cell and a prolonged duration. Botox should last about 3.5 to 4 months. They're promoting Daxxify as something that lasts 6 months to 9 months. Well, let's see if that's true. In the studies, they looked at just over 4,000 doses. And they found that about 3% of the individuals did have some blockade still evident at 9 months. However, 50% only lasted 5 months, which means that about 40% of the individuals, slightly more, are going to last under 5 months. Very similar to what you're seeing with Dysport and Botox. Of interest, when they did this study, they only injected the glabella complex. Normally, the glabella area takes about 20 units of Botox. However, in this study, they gave all 5 areas a total of 40 units of Daxxify. It's going to be interesting to see if the conversion of Daxxify to Botox is 1-for-1. In other words, does 1 unit of Botox equal 1 unit of Daxxify? If that's the case, then they really doubled the dosage, and the duration would be artificially elevated. And most likely, if you double the dosage of Botox in the glabella area, you would have a prolonged duration as well. So that's going to be very important because that's going to adjust your price point, because this drug is definitely going to be expensive. And along with the cost, you might not get an appreciable difference in the duration of action. You might be paying a lot more money for this product, and if it only lasts for 4 months or even 5 months, it's not appreciably different than what you're going to get from Botox, and you've already spent the money. So what are the pros and cons of using Daxxify? Well, one of the big pros, obviously, would be if it truly lasts for 6 to 9 months. You'll only be getting that treatment twice a year then, as opposed to 3 times a year with Dysport and Botox. But the cons are considerable. First, that duration is a double-edged sword. If you have an adverse outcome, such as a dropped eyelid, or uneven brows, or you don't like the sensation of it, you don't like the way it came out, you're going to be stuck with it for a longer period of time. Because just like Botox and Dysport, it's not reversible. Number 2 is going to be the cost. They don't even know how much it's going to cost now. But Botox and Dysport aren't cheap, which means this thing is going to be significantly more money. The risk of developing significant side effects, such as inability to swallow or difficulty breathing, are more profound with Daxxify. Number 4, the potential to develop an allergy. Whenever you have a protein in a medication, there's always a risk of it becoming allergenic and creating a hypersensitivity response. Whereas that peptide possibly has made this drug enter the cell easier and last longer, that same peptide is going to increase the risk of you having an allergic reaction. And unfortunately, if you do develop an allergic reaction to Daxxify, you're going to be hypersensitive to the rest of the line because of that botulinum toxin. That's going to be something we have to consider in the long term as well. Is this going to be more antigenic and create more allergic responses? I've never had anybody allergic to Botox or Dysport, but they do not contain this protein. So time is going to tell. So is Daxxify going to be the latest thing to knock Botox out of its throne? It's uncertain. Maybe that's the iffy part. It's going to depend on the cost, the safety profile, and the duration of action. All of these things are uncertain at this point. So time is going to tell. In the meantime, I'm still going to stick with my Dysport. I think that does last a little longer than Botox, and I'm still uncertain about the benefits of Daxxify. Take care, have a good day. I hope you know a little bit more about this new medication.